Released in 1916 during his golden year with the Mutual Film Corporation, The Rink is Charlie Chaplin's eighth film for the studio. It is widely celebrated not just for its sharp slapstick, but for showcasing Chaplin's remarkable ballet-like athleticism on roller skates. Here is the story of how a clumsy waiter becomes the smooth skating life of a high society party. The story opens in a bustling restaurant where Charlie works as an incredibly inept waiter. He spends his shift causing absolute mayhem for both the customers and his fellow waiter, played by Albert Austin. In classic Chaplin fashion, Charlie manages to mix up orders, unintentionally insult guests, and perform bizarre tableside antics. In one famous sequence, he prepares a cocktail with such violent enthusiasm that his entire body shakes, accidentally using a customer's top hat as a cocktail shaker lid. During his shift, he encounters Mr. Stout, Eric Campbell, a loud, arrogant man who treats the staff poorly. Charlie completely ruins Mr. Stout's dinner, subtly driving him mad while calculating his bill by examining the food stains left on the man's vest, tie, and face. During his lunch break, Charlie heads over to the local roller skating rink to blow off some steam. The moment he puts on skates, his clumsy waiter persona vanishes. He transforms into a graceful, fluid virtuoso, effortlessly gliding around the floor, weaving through crowds and performing trick turns. While at the rink, he spots a beautiful young woman named Edna Purviance. She is being aggressively harassed by none other than Mr. Stout, who happens to be a married man looking for a secret fling. Charlie intervenes, using his skating agility to gracefully trip, dodge, and humiliate Mr. Stout, saving Edna from his unwanted advances. Grateful for the rescue, Edna takes a liking to Charlie. Believing him to be a wealthy gentleman due to his fine posture on the ice, she invites him to a high society skating party being held at her home later that evening. Charlie gladly accepts, introducing himself under the fake aristocratic alias Sir Cecil Seltzer. That evening, Charlie arrives at the party dressed in a rented top hat and tails, fully embodying his fake Sir Cecil persona. The party quickly descends into a web of romantic misunderstandings. Mr. Stout arrives at the party because he is pursuing Edna. Meanwhile, Mr. Stout's unsuspecting wife is also at the party, and she is being pursued by Edna's father, Mr. Moneybags. When Charlie, Sir Cecil, arrives, Mr. Stout instantly recognizes him as the elegant skater who humiliated him earlier, but he still has no idea this man is actually the clumsy waiter from lunch. Charlie spends the evening dodging Mr. Stout's anger while simultaneously flirting with Edna and drinking heavily. As the guests hit the home's private roller rink, Charlie steals the show once again with his brilliant skating, turning the formal party into a chaotic ballet. He accidentally knocks over guests, drinks champagne while spinning on one leg, and continuously uses the massive Mr. Stout as a human bowling pin. The facade finally cracks when the chef of the household recognizes Charlie as a fellow restaurant worker. Realizing a mere waiter has infiltrated their high society event, Edna's father calls the police. A wild, chaotic chase ensues across the roller rink. Charlie uses the momentum of his skates to outmaneuver the upper-class guests, Edna's father, and a small army of police officers. He flips people over his shoulders, trips the cops into massive pile-ups, and turns the entire living room into a demolition derby. Realizing he needs a clean getaway, Charlie skates at full speed out the front door and onto the city streets. Spotting a moving automobile, he uses the cane of a passerby to hook himself onto the back of the car, waving a cheerful goodbye to the furious crowd as he effortlessly rolls away into the distance. Behind the scenes fact: Chaplin didn't use a stunt double for any of the skating sequences. He had practiced roller skating extensively in his youth during his time in British music halls, and his performance in the Rink is still studied by physical comedians today for its perfect blend of balance, timing, and grace.